Although some first dates can lead to a lifelong relationship, others don't get called back for a second chance.
I met a guy in one of my language classes. It was one of my first semesters here at Texas Tech, and he asked if I wanted to go out for coffee. And I thought, oh yeah, this would be fun, we'll go out. So I show up at the coffee shop a little bit ahead of time, and I'm waiting, and I'm waiting, and I'm waiting, and 30 minutes later, this guy finally shows up to the date. He is wearing just these suspiciously stained sweatpants, this nasty shirt. He shows up and plops down next to me and smells like I don't know what happened between class and that time, but he really smells terrible. While I was waiting for him, I had been doing the crossword puzzle, and so I put it aside and started talking, and he pulled out the crossword again, and he's like, oh, so you do crosswords? And I was like, yeah, I really enjoy them. I was kind of passing the time, and he said, well, I mean, it's great that you read and all, but, it's not really great to show off.
Many college students said they had a hard time getting past the uncomfortable small talk phase on their first date.
Well, it started out, my mom drove us because we were, didn't have our licenses yet. And it was a double date, and it was to this movie, and the movie was terrible. And then, it started out fine, and then at the end of the movie, he tried to kiss me, and I pretended not to notice, and it was extremely awkward.
I feel like first dates can be really awkward, so that's what I was really nervous about whenever I first went on the date with him. I remember him pulling up, and he was in his car, and I didn't want him to come to the door because I didn't want it to be awkward, we're in college, I don't want this to be weird, and so I just ran and got in the car, and it's just it can be so awkward, and I think that first dates can really make or break a relationship, because if it's really awkward, you're not going to want to go back.
As the date kept going, it was getting worse and worse. At the time, I had a henna tattoo on my hand because I was in an Arabic course, and one of my friends had done henna on my hand. And the guy pointed out, and he was like, do you have a tattoo? Do you have tattoos? And I thought, well, no, this is just temporary, it's henna, but if I were to get one, I think this is really pretty. And he launched off on this diatribe about how I was desecrating the temple of my body by destroying it by putting ink on it. And he kept going on and on about it until I finally just said, I think we're done here. I don't really have anything else to talk about with you.
Despite several disastrous first dates, there are a few who find their missing puzzle piece.
Okay, our first date, we went to Ransom Canyon, which is outside of town, kind of by Buffalo Springs, and we drove around and looked at the stars, and we actually went and walked around by the water, and it was really pretty, and we saw this beaver. It was really dramatic. It was actually really funny, but it was cool. We just talked a lot, and I hadn't seen him for 4 or 5 weeks since we first met, and so it was cool to actually be with him and talk to him in person.